Dune.
Dune. Hello and welcome to yet another dimension. I am Jeremy. And Andrew is here once again, because I forced him to do this.
Force me.
Yeah.
Against my will. I'm a hostage.
What are we talking about today?
Please help me.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the Dune.
Dune.
We're talking about Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
We're talking about Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve. One of the best go-right.
We can't say the director's name.
Yeah.
We have no clue how to pronounce it. And I even just watched a video where he introduced himself, said his own name, and
Multiple
I
times.
still have no idea.
And I can barely pronounce my own name.
Denis Villeneuve.
He's one of the best going out right now.
One of the best. We're actually thinking about doing a video where we rank his films because we liked so many of them so far.
He's done Arrival, Blade Runner, my favorite movie from the last decade.
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, of course. They know.
They know. Our viewers
2049.
know.
What was the other
Prisoners.
one? Yeah, it was another one too, right?
There's a couple.
Sicario?
Sicario.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he's making this. Dune. Part 1. What was your... Okay, so... first of all, let me introduce the scene. So we have the book, Dune.
Which he's read 5 times.
Many times. I've read the first page 5 times and couldn't get past it because I'm dyslexic and I'm stupid. And we have Jib, the cactus, because they're in a desert. So it makes sense.
You shouldn't have explained it. You should have just let the audience put it together.
No.
Denis Villeneuve.
I treat them like idiots, okay? Because everybody else does. Then we have the little Spider-Man right here. You can't see it, but...
There's a little dangly looking spider thing.
And we have some apple cider that looks like muddy water.
Wow, you really going all out,
All
aren't
in.
you?
And also we have our sand shirts that has this color of sand.
You're not supposed to acknowledge every piece of the cinematography. You're supposed to let it just... This is why you can't direct Dune.
Bro, this is trash. Compared to the movie, this is trash, okay? This is a trash podcast, and we're going to keep it trash. Okay?
It is trash. It's trash.
Leave it alone.
So...
What was your expectations coming in here? Because I had no expectations. I mean, I have expectations. I don't know anything about Dune. Did you know anything about Dune?
No, not really a lot. I watched the first half hour of the 1984 one directed by David Lynch, because I've been watching a lot of David Lynch stuff lately, and I was like, oh, I should watch that Dune movie.
He's a bad man.
He's
crazy.
a bad man.
I like it.
I can't believe that they were like, yeah, you can make Dune. After seeing Eraserhead, they're like, you know what? You should head a sci-fi franchise.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's like a serious. Yeah.
Not David Lynch is bad, but he's like an art film director. Mm-hmm. But I guess they kind of did the same thing with Villeneuve because his earlier movies were more like Enemy.
See, I haven't seen all of those.
That's not like I would never expect he's gonna make a movie like Dune after seeing Enemy. But then again, he's made like Blade Runner and all this other shit too. So I guess it makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, my expectation, I don't really know shit about the story at all. I've never read the book. I've heard of it. I've heard it's really long and involved, but I never picked it up and read it. I was interested based on the trailers and then based on what I saw of the old movie. I was like, this is a cool story, So my expectation was just I don't think I saw anything beyond the first trailer for this movie. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything about the story. I don't know what it's about. I was just going to go in and just see if I enjoy it. It's a good director. I expected it to be good because he's a good director.
Yeah.
So far, he's got a good track record.
Anything bad or not? I mean, decent?
Not that I've seen. I think Enemy was it's weird, but it was still a pretty good movie. So overall, I've liked everything he's made that I've seen. So I expected it to be a good movie. Going in, what did you expect?
I expect it to be a good movie as well because it's one of my favorite directors going. Like I said, Blade Runner, Arrival, a lot of great movies. Like I said, I don't know anything about Dune. I didn't even watch the trailer. I didn't read the book.
Even though he's read it many times.
Yeah, all the time.
He reads books.
I just know that the only thing I know is it just takes place in a sand planet. That's the only thing I know. And there's worms.
They have worms.
Yes, they have worms in this world. Giant worms. But I had high expectations because he's a great director.
He is, yeah.
But I like to go completely blind. I was completely blind.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I love this movie.
Yeah, I loved it too.
Yeah.
Was really.
It shattered my expectations.
Yeah, no, I was blown away by how beautiful it looked, and I was worried that people were saying the old one and the old movie and the book both are really slow, and they have a lot of like exposition stuff and world building, which is what I've heard. But I mean, like this movie, I felt like there was a lot of that stuff, but it didn't
bother me.
It didn't bother me either. I was kind of just like letting it all, just taking it all in, experiencing it for the first time or whatever, and it felt very natural. Yeah. Like I was just exploring this world, and
it's a completely different world to us. They have different rules, cultures, religions. Yeah. You gotta learn the world. It's gonna take it some time, and I was interested the whole time.
Yeah.
In learning about it. I don't know what's going on, most of it. Like in the beginning, it's kind of hard to follow because sometimes you can't hear it. But they throw you a lot at the beginning.
There's a lot of lore and
but
stuff,
it's pretty. You can understand what's going on.
I think so too.
They're going to the planet to. I'm kind of like.
They've been
take over?
given. Yeah, essentially like at the beginning of the movie, they're given the House Atreides they're the rulers of the one planet. I can't remember the name of it. I wish I'd read the book so I had more about the lore and the character names. But the main character, Paul, his father is the Duke of this one planet, and they get given protection of Dune, also known as Arrakis by like
we'll just call it Dune.
Yeah, they call it Dune because it's just a desert planet. So they're given like control over that by the Emperor. So they go there to help. Like I guess there's a mineral there. It's called spice. That
it's the most important
in the air.
Substance in the world.
Yeah, and they use it for fuel of like for everything. So, Paul's father and the House Atreides, their faction family, whatever you want to call it, they go there to help mine the spice to use for like the Imperium, I guess.
That's like the base plot of what's going on. We'll get more into it in spoilers.
Yeah, that's like the premise of what's going on. And Paul is like, basically it's kind of coming of age. Yeah. As he will take over his father's
He doesn't really want to be a leader. He's kind of immature at first. But, he goes through changes, and I appreciate it. So, what stands out most about this movie that you liked?
There's a lot. I really, I think probably the visuals stand out the most, as I expected with a movie by this guy, because all his movies are just visually so good.
Yes.
And this was definitely no exception. It's probably the best looking movie he's made too. So, Blade Runner was really good.
Actually, I'll have to say, by the end, I think I have to agree with you. At first, I'm like, does Blade Runners? Do I like the Blade Runner more? But at the end,
both are great.
I'll have to say they're different types of movies too.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of sci-fi, but the look of it.
Yeah.
I'll have to say this is one of the stunning visuals. I'll have to say the outfits, the costume designs,
amazing.
The designs of the ships, all great. Some of it kind of reminded me of the ship in Arrival. Yeah. They're like kind of monolithic, kind of intimidating looking.
Yeah, just hovering, floating.
It's kind of like religious. I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of.
It's creepy, but I want to ride one so bad. Like the flies, it's the fly ships.
Yeah, they have one that looks like a dragonfly.
It's weird, but I think I don't know if it makes sense, but it's cool.
Yeah, who cares if it makes sense?
But the costumes, beautiful,
glorious,
great. I want to buy one. Tomorrow.
I love the costumes, the set design, all of it. All of it looks so good. And I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me is this movie is probably like 80% CGI.
Yeah, and we hate CGI.
If you know anything about our channel, our movies, we hate CGI. We hate excessive CGI, and I was not really bothered by the CGI in this movie at all. Maybe a couple times I was like, I don't love it. Yeah. But I was never pulled out of the movie by CGI, which is like unheard of with me.
Yeah. I fucking hate it.
Yeah. So, the CGI in this movie was fucking fantastic, and I think all the movies that he's done with CGI, like Blade Runner as well, like I thought that looked great. He just knows what he's doing. It's it looks very real, I think. So. Yeah, the visuals probably definitely carried it, but there's a lot of other great aspects too. Like the story, I thought was good too.
It's very engaging.
Yeah, it keeps you like I don't really know what's going on at first, I didn't know how exciting it was going to get, but I think by the moment that there's like I don't want to spoil it because we're gonna get into spoilers, but there's a big pivotal moment in this movie where like things shift and it's very tense and
and you feel it.
Yeah, for sure.
The beginning's kind of just setting up. It's kind of slow burn, but it's still interesting because the world is so interesting. Yeah, they throw a lot of stuff. The voice, like kind of like the Force from Star Wars, like controlled by the voice. I thought was interesting. Being challenged, a little bit of espionage, trying to but we'll get into that. I like that stuff.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
The political fighting the political realm of the story. I like that.
It was great. Yeah. So I was really engaged by a lot of it. Even the performances I thought were really good. Like Timothée Chalamet is a really good actor. I've only seen him in a couple movies.
I've never seen him.
Yeah, but he did a great job as Paul, I thought. Just very believable, and there's a lot of scenes like where he's like having a vision and he's like in tears and there's snot running down his nose.
Yeah,
like, he wasn't. It's very real performance.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like actually real snot.
It looked like it. It looked like they were all
gross, but I guess
crying, and sweating. And, yeah, it was great. And then all the cast was really. I think they just had a really stacked cast too, which helped. They have actors I've seen in multiple things like Oscar Isaac, and
he's always great.
Yeah, always great. Jason Momoa, they had him do mostly action, which is what he's good at.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was badass in this.
He was.
The fight scenes are great, I think.
The fight scenes were great, and I weren't expecting them to be many fights. I didn't think it was going to be a big fight movie, but there was a couple scenes, and they were sweet. Mm-hmm. I think the shields that they have,
shields, they did it perfectly.
This extra layer of like excitement to the fights. But yeah, I felt like a lot of times there's a sense of danger in this first movie. Like there's a lot of times where I was worried about Paul or main character getting killed. I figured they wouldn't kill Paul. People do die, so no one's safe, which I also like. Mm-hmm. It's very much like you gotta, anyone could go. So it makes it really exciting, high stakes. So
I see the influence. This influence a lot. I feel like they've influenced Star Wars. The shield thing influenced video games like Halo, because it looks just like it. I just felt like this felt a lot like Star Wars. It was like more serious, darker tone.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it had the political side where like the prequels.
Episode 1, Phantom Menace is all
the
Senate and the Trade Federation.
But this is actually good, and
it's done well. Yeah,
and has the exciting moments of the original trilogy and the newer ones, where like the more action focused.
Yeah,
and like the sand planet, it just reminds me of was it Tatooine?
Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine.
I don't know how influenced.
You don't think it was influenced?
Well, it might have been. It might definitely have been. So Dune came out 1965, the book, right? Mm-hmm. And then Star Wars, the first one, I believe, was 77.
Yeah, it was 77.
So I mean, there's definitely possible influence from Dune.
I know there's a lot of Eastern influence in Star Wars, like the
samurai movies. And
I don't know. I just felt Star Wars in this movie. I don't know why.
Well, it's in space.
I don't know. I felt it.
Yeah, I can see that. I think this. I mean, I don't know how much people who wrote like the movies that like we grew up on, like Blade Runner or like. Like sci-fi, space, or whatever kind of movies. I don't know how much they were influenced by Dune, but it could have been a lot, Mm-hmm. I think it was bigger when it came out at the book than it's kind of been in the lull for a while, where I feel like people haven't really talked about it since. But 1965, I wonder if the hype was bigger because, it was a book and it was really, probably was more popular back then. I don't know.
Books are not as popular these days at all.
Books are not in general, and definitely not Dune. I don't know a lot of people that talk about Dune at all, although it's kind of regarded as like this classic.
Like 1984, books like that. It's like everybody knows about it, but not everybody's read it, unfortunately.
But you should read 1984.
I think because Star Wars, I feel like this is my Star Wars now. I feel like I like this more than Star Wars, and it has the feel of it.
It's realistic in the sense that it feels very grounded within that world, even the things that don't make total sense yet, like Paul's visions and stuff. There's a lot that's kind of unexplained at the moment, but yeah, it is very realistic and grounded, I think, for a sci-fi epic like that. So overall scores.
Well, first thing, the score is fantastic by
Hans Zimmer, who's done, I mean, Some of my favorite movies, like The Dark Knight and all of Nolan's movies. So yeah, score is very intense, like Hans Zimmer usually is, very loud. There's a lot of kind of like guttural chanting, and
I love that.
Yeah, it's creepy at times, unsettling.
Tribal, I think it's like
tribal kind of, yeah. So great music.
I'll have to say the mixing's kind of off sometimes because when people are whispering, I can't hear a damn thing.
That was a problem with the Dark Knight movie too, and I think Tenet, same. You know,
you have that problem? Do you think that's the issue with?
I think it could be an issue with Hans Zimmer. Yeah, they don't know what to do with this loud ass music.
Yeah, I like it, but I want to hear what they're saying. I think that's like one of the criticisms I could think of.
That's fair.
But if I watch that at home with subtitles, I think it'd be fine then.
That was one thing we talked about when we got out of the movie. We were like, man, I wish we could have turned down the subtitles at the theater.
I feel like an old man now.
I feel like we're starting to get spoiled watching things at home with subtitles, because now when I go to the theater, I feel that way a lot. I'm like, man, I wish I would have just read that
rewind it?
line, you know, so I could see more about it. Especially in a movie like this where there's all this lore, and, you know, you want to see stuff spelled out, you know, so you understand what it's talking about better. So, yeah, but the music was great. Whole cinematography I thought was great. You know, everything looked amazing. Just
the performances. I don't think anybody was lacking, really.
No, I think the only drawback to this movie is that now I have to wait several years for the sequel to finish the story, because it is part one. Bro. So it's not a complete story on its own. It's the first half of this book here, right, essentially. So there's another half of this book to come. And
let me tell you. When I seen that on this fucking screen, because I had no idea about this.
Oh, you didn't know?
I had a tantrum. Like, I was fucking mad. I was like, I want to hate this movie. I kind of hating it at the first. I'm like, no, this is good. Okay, all right.
It's a good movie.
I ended up liking it.
Yeah.
But I got to wait a long time to see the second half. And like you were saying, it should have been a miniseries.
Should have been a miniseries.
That's what he says all the time.
I think most things would be better as like a miniseries. I think it's a really good way to tell a story. But especially something like this, it's like obviously longer, more material than a movie a lot of times, because you think it has to be split into 2 movies, right?
Mandalorian.
And it's, like the Mandalorian, make it like an 8-episode thing, but it's just they don't put that kind of production value into a miniseries for some reason. Not always.
They could though, easily.
They could. I don't know why they don't.
Well, that's okay. That's a different discussion. Let's get to the score.
The scoring the movie out of 10.
Yeah. I
think Dune Part 1, I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. Okay. So I thought it was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. And I really am really excited to see the rest of this story play out for sure. I can't wait. I was definitely hooked the whole time. It was 2.5 hours. I didn't feel like it dragged.
No.
You know?
It was great.
It was great. I was engaged the whole time. So, I think 8.5 out of 10. Really loved it.
I have to agree. It was great. I loved it, and I'll give it a fucking 9.
You get a 9?
Yes.
And it's high.
That is high. The only reason why it's not higher is because it's not a complete story.
Yeah.
But it's a complete arc so far. It's been growth.
It did it did feel like it
felt like a satisfying ending to me.
It did. I agree.
So I'll give it a 9. And this is my favorite movie this year so far.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely probably the best movie that came out this year.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been some duds this year.
Yeah, it's not a lot of competition. It's not like I think of 2 other, maybe 3 other movies that are close to this. But
yeah, this is
definitely the most satisfying. And we did go see it at the best quality, the IMAX.
We saw it at Imagine IMAX theater. Loud.
I'm glad we did, though.
Yeah, no, very worth it to see this movie in a theater if you're going to go see it.
Mm-hmm. So definittle go see this movie. 100%.
100%.
If you're a sci-fi fan, just a fan of just good movies, good film, it's hard to understand sometimes. You got to pay attention the whole time. Don't look away. Yeah,
don't be on your phone or anything. But it is a very, very good movie. And if you don't go see it in theaters because you're worried about COVID or whatever, then watch it on HBO Max. Yeah. But definitely watch it.
Watch it, definitely, 100%.
And if you can go to the theater, help them out, because the more money they make, the better chances they'll make the sequel. And I really want to see a sequel.
Imagine if they don't make the sequel to this movie.
Oh, I'd be so mad. But I think you said it's already grossed a lot of money, right?
It's went over the budget. I think the budget was $165 million. It made $220
already in the opening weekend.
Yeah,
that's good news.
And that's good for COVID. Yeah.
Oh, it's great
because you can watch it at home and still get good box office.
Yeah.
So definitely 100% go see this movie. It's the best movie I've seen so far this year.
Oh yeah, definitely the best movie of the year. And I'm so glad it wasn't a letdown. You know, I was worried about it because there's a lot of movies I was excited for, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
You know, so this one was definitely, I think, met whatever expectations I had.
I was surprised that I liked
surpassed
this.
them.
I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did because it's not usually the type of movie I like.
Sci-fi?
Like super epic movies that go everywhere
with a lot of lore.
Like that I absolutely love at first sight.
That's true.
I absolutely loved it when I first watching it. I was in the whole time. So I agree. So go see it.
Go see Dune.
Or watch it at home. But let's get into spoilers.
We're gonna get into spoilers about why it's so good. So if you don't want to get it spoiled, log out of your computer, take it to our address, and I will take
Jump off the bridge and end your life.
Well,
don't end your life.
Maybe not that part. So spoilers.
Spoilers. Don't end your life.
Of Dune. Don't kill yourself, please. So
it's hard. I mean, it's hard to spoil this. I mean, it's hard to go through everything in this movie. I don't think
it's dense, but I think one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, let's talk about favorite moments.
Yeah, favorite moment is the scene where the Baron finally. The Baron is the bad guy of this movie. He's like this big, fat, floaty guy.
Yeah.
He's really creepy looking. And
yeah, it's gross.
I don't know exactly the whole story because I feel like we should have read some of the Wikipedia or the book or something because there's a lot of lore, but there's a connection between him and I think he's the Oscar Isaac's cousin.
Is he?
I think he said something about cousin. So they're both factions.
It was hard for him.
It was hard to understand.
Yeah.
But either way, they're like competing houses essentially.
They're trying to take control of that planet.
They wanted Dune, because they were there before, before Atreides was, and they got taken out by the Emperor for reasons they didn't know.
And we haven't seen the Emperor in this movie at all.
I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
Unless that guy at the beginning was the Emperor, which I don't.
I don't think because they're building up like crazy to this Emperor.
Yeah,
because they talk about a lot. He's a jealous man.
Yeah.
I like that though. I like how they didn't show him yet.
Yeah, build the mystery.
And
reveal it in part 2.
Hopefully, I think it's gonna be great when they reveal it because it's kind of like intimidating. Like he's controlling all this. Everybody's like, it's a big war, and he's the one just orchestrating everything. Yeah, I like that.
So essentially, like the Barons, I can't remember. They're like the Harakans or something.
Harakans, yeah.
Yeah,
the bad guys.
They're mining stuff on Dune at the beginning, and then they're ordered to leave, but they don't know why.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and we find out it's because the Baron, or I'm sorry, not the Baron, the Emperor wanted Atreides to go to Dune because he didn't think they'd survive. He wanted to kill him. And I still don't know why exactly.
Why can't he just go there and kill him himself?
I think he felt that. Well, remember what his dad said? They had sky power and they had sea power. So I think he felt they were more powerful on their own planet. If he could isolate them to this place where they didn't have a lot to work with, they'd be more vulnerable. So actually, that's pretty cool.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did they go there then? They didn't think they were like the Emperor.
Well, they didn't. Yeah, no, they had no reason to think that he was trying to.
They're so evil looking. I feel like they're so evil. Looking.
We don't know that. I guess like the whole.
I guess it's a different world because they look evil doesn't mean it look evil to them. They just look different.
You mean the Harakans? Yeah, they're not the Emperor. They're like.
I thought they were like being controlled by them.
Well, they are, but so was Atreides at one point.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's confusing because the Emperor is on a different planet, right?
We haven't seen the Emperor yet.
Yeah, like there's nothing shown.
There was the one guy who came with the seal and said, "Hey, you have Dune now. You own Dune. Good luck."
And that's from the Emperor.
That was from the Emperor, telling them to go there.
Right.
The Harakans were ordered to leave there.
I thought they were like closely associated with them. The Harakans.
I mean, so are Atreides.
They're
all under the banner of the Empire.
Okay, so they're equal. Okay, all right. Yeah. So it's like the president in like the states.
Yeah. Okay, and I think they said something
about. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
He chose a side. The Emperor chose a side, and he chose the Baron.
Okay.
And so
okay, damn, the Emperor, he's
a bad
smart.
guy.
Yeah,
man.
He's not dumb. So far, but they say he's a jealous man. So we'll
see. Yeah. So I think my favorite scene is when that all kind of blows up and the Baron's forces invade Dune, where Atreides is. There's a fucking major battle, and there's espionage inside. They assassinate the king, Oscar Isaac's character. Basically, they comatose him and give him a poison tooth thing.
You ever seen that before?
No.
Okay.
That's fucking sweet,
though. I've seen that it was a game called Metal Gear Solid 3. They do that. somebody gives them the tooth where they can either kill
bite
himself,
down.
yeah, bite down, and make it look like he killed himself, so he can escape when he gets captured. So I've seen that once before, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. I love stuff like that. So you have the big battle outside, and then you have the espionage inside. I love that shit.
Yeah. So that was my favorite moment probably, but there's a lot of really cool moments too, like the first time that they see the giant worm.
That's one of my favorite moments too. It's intense because the thing breaks down.
There's like a carrier collecting the spice from the dirt or whatever. Yeah, and it's like it can't get out, and so they try to go down and rescue him, and there's a worm, a giant fucking butthole worm.
Bro, that looks impressive. I like it. Yeah. It kind of looks like hairs, and it looks creepy, but
it looks very creepy.
Yeah, and it kind of like the rumbles, the sand when it comes up. I like how it looks.
Yeah, it looked great.
And I love how they have to walk like kind of a dance across the sand.
Yeah, they have to walk irregularly because if their pattern is the same, if they keep walking the same, the worms could hear them and find them. And that's really cool.
That is, I love that concept. That's one of my favorite parts too with the battle because it was intense.
It was.
It was like those things, the robot things were just blowing up their ships. What was that? What was like blowing up their ships? Or like okay, so there was like a weapon they were using. The Rockins, and then it was like blowing up each individual ship. You didn't see that?
Yeah, I mean there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
there was a lot of explosions.
It was kind of like it looked like it was like I don't know, like scanning it and then blew it up. You didn't see that? You don't remember?
There was a lot. I don't remember that part.
I just thought that was really cool. Yeah, and I was like, damn, they have technology like that. I feel like cool. But they caught them off guard and they were safe. You know, but I like that. And and multiple attempts on Paul, right? Yeah.
There's one time he catches this little like wasp-looking thing that was trying to. It's like a little robot bug.
And the guy was hiding in the wall.
Yeah, and he died in there.
Yeah, for a very long time.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. That's cool. So and I love the part where they're in the ship, not the ship. The fly.
The dragonfly ship, whatever that's called,
And like he finally can master the voice to control people.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was an intense scene. Yeah, I like that, and like I like how it reveals that his mother is like a badass like fighter. Yeah, I like that because it seemed like she was just kind of like I don't know. Is she supposed to be like a very soft? I guess not very like a fighter. Is it portrayed like that in the beginning? Do you think?
I think they kept a little bit of a secret.
Yeah, because I didn't get that from it. But like I don't know, out of nowhere she's like a badass fighter.
Yeah. I think that was meant to be sort of a reveal.
I like that. I like that because like cool. The voice thing is really cool to me.
It is really cool. It's just another layer of like the lore of this world and like the what magic could be there too. It's not just science. It's like magic. It's like a weird blend, which I like.
And my favorite group is definitely the Fremen.
The Fremen.
The Fremen. Yeah. The Fremen. Yeah, they look cool, man. They got the blue eyes, and they're just like, fuck you. Like, get off my planet. Like, he comes in storms in with the king, the Duke, I'm sorry. Yeah. And like, Josh Brolin's like, I don't like this guy. But he's played
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, he's played well by him. Yeah. He kind of like spits. I'm like, damn, this dude don't care. I like those people. I don't know.
I like when they were hiding in the sand and they would pop up and kill you.
Yeah, That's so cool to me.
That was cool. So there's definitely a lot to like in this one. I think I'm super excited for part 2. Mm-hmm. I if it doesn't get made, I'll be really sad because this was really. But I think it will. It's already done well. I think it's got good reviews. So I'm hopeful that they do make this sequel and that we get to see this story finish out. But definitely best movie of the year, I think, hands down. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about it? Or
so what did you think of like Paul, the main character? He's the main focus of the movie. Like he's the chosen one. I usually don't like that.
I usually don't like that either. That was something I did want to mention.
We're watching Harry Potter right now. I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Potter. Like the person, I guess he just magically he's the one. He's just do anything.
Potter privilege.
Yeah. But I think in this, it works. Do you think it works?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it is like a really tired trope of like a chosen one thing and like a messianic thing. But he's very much like Paul.
It's from 1965. So
it is.
Yeah.
You know. So it is a lot before the tropes were really overdone. But I think it didn't pull me out of the story really. You know, I'm still interested to see where it goes, and I think what's cool is that Paul has these visions that he can't really trust. So I wonder how much those visions direct his decision making.
Influence him a lot,
exactly.
probably.
So he's still kind of uncertain about being the chosen one or whatever, and I still don't know what's gonna happen. You know, and I feel like he can't trust his own visions, like his psychic visions. So we can't trust him either. It's like we don't know where it's just gonna go. I mean, unless you've read the book, but I haven't. So
no.
I'm like going into this movie thinking like I really don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm excited. I like Paul. I think, like I said, Timothée Chalamet played him great. Just a very human character. Very real performance, and I'm excited to see where this goes, for sure.
Because in his vision, some of them, like Zendaya, he sees her all the time in the visions.
Yeah.
And then one vision, she kills him.
Yeah,
right?
There's a couple different ones. One, she kills him. Sometimes they go together and they rule like the galaxy together or something. And it's a lot of.
Can't really trust it.
Yeah, you can't trust any of it, which I like. It's kind of ambiguous.
But he's going with him at the end. I like the ending too. The ending fight.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought it was really cool.
I love. one thing I love is like I think I've told you this. I mean, I guess they had knives, but it still felt very like brutal.
Yeah.
And
fisticuffs.
It kind of felt that way. I like very minimal weapon fights. Yeah. So it's like I like fist fights to the death. Or in this case, it was Paul battles this guy with a dagger to the death. Just very, very raw and intense.
There wasn't a lot of like gore or brutal scenes like that.
No, it was PG-13, which I think is why.
And it works. I didn't really need it. I usually like gore and like really like horrific deaths, but I was fine with it.
There was a lot of off-screen gore. There's a lot of times they were like cutting heads off, and they would do it through like the heat of like a flame, so you couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by that. I don't need gore as long as I feel like it's an intense moment.
Yeah.
I don't always need to see it happen.
So I was like in Lord of the Rings, I'm like, oh, the impact of the fights wasn't as much because I didn't see any gore, but in this, I thought it was fine.
You weren't bothered by it?
Yeah. So I think it was just done very well.
I think of like, there's a scene I think of in The Dark Knight where the Joker cuts a guy's face. You could kind of just tell he's cutting a guy's face, but you never see it.
Yeah, that is a good scene.
Yeah, and I think that this reminds me of that same kind of thing. There's a lot of violence it's implied enough to where I can feel it happen. I don't need to see it.
Just a gore whore, I guess.
Yeah, you imagine the gore.
Yeah, sometimes it's better that way.
Sometimes
your imagination is worse than what you see.
Yeah, sometimes. So I definitely, I was fine with the violence. I thought it was intense. There's a lot of intense moments. Story was great, and they better make a damn sequel. That's all I can say. Better make Dune Part 2, or I'm gonna be really upset.
I can't give a 10 or masterpiece to any any movie that's just Part 1. Gotta make it good. Part 2. Yeah. I think it will be.
I think
as long as it goes well. I mean, I don't know what else happens. I haven't read the book, but I look forward to it. This is my most anticipated movie. So now I gotta wait. Whenever. I don't like that shit.
Hopefully it's not too long.
I think it's gonna get made. I
think it will get made.
It'd be a travesty if it did not get made.
Yeah, that would be a disappointment.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Movie? No, I think like we've said, definitely go see Dune. If you're gonna 100%. Go see any movie this year, watch Dune. It's intense. It's visually beautiful, and even if you don't know what's going on, you're probably just gonna have a good time. It's very fun to watch. My favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna beat it. So that was our review of Dune,
Part 1.
And like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until then, I'll see you in the next dimension.